WT slaying.
Salama family, salama, how y'all doing today? Hope you're blessed and highly, highly favored. So before we get started, I'd like to talk about real quick, the show I did yesterday about the Camara. So, apparently, I saw, I posted a video on my Facebook wall about one of our sisters. She an Israelite and she got the vax. Now she's in the hospital. So, I want to send out prayers for her. You all, pray for her, please. And for any of the Israelites who haven't gotten the message not to take the vax, right? So, one other thing, in concerning this particular discussion here, I want to reach out to my African brothers and sisters, right? I mean, the ones on the continent. I want to get some of you all on the show to discuss the awakening, right? Now, I'm going to share a comment from one of our listeners, Wanjiku. And, I want to know what the awakening looks like on the continent. So I'm going to share what he said, or she, I'm not sure. Keep doing what you're doing. I'm from Africa and Kenya, Bantus, and they are waking up, especially young generation. They are turning to the Most High and realizing they are the chosen one because most of the practices in the Old Testament are the same as our traditions. Who introduced them to us? Europeans were forcing our forefathers to stop, but they did not succeed at all. So apparently there's, the awakening happening on the continent as we would expect. And we don't hear too much about it. So, I would like to, whoever is willing, come on the show and discuss the awakening on the continent. Because I would assume that it is pretty big. I would assume, that's just me. I would assume by now it should be pretty big. One of the other things is I may discuss this tomorrow or sometime soon about the curses. Once again, they're being flipped. And, I have to, when I see the curses being flipped, I have to make sure my heart is right because, all I want to do is glory in Christ and what he's doing, right? And Yeshua and what he's doing, and not glorify in the fact that somebody else might be struggling, even though, hey, they've been warned, and you're going to reap what you've sown, and you're going to reap what your ancestors have sown. And I know they didn't teach you all that, but at the same time, it denotes our deliverance. You see? So it denotes our deliverance from captivity. So, that there's that complexity there, right? The complexity, because we see our enemies being judged, but at the same time, we see our deliverance on the horizon. There's a complexity there. So let's talk about why our history can no longer be hidden. Understand, that with all of the evidence we presented, we don't have to present anymore. With all of the evidence we presented over the years, we don't have to present anymore. Why do I say that? Because you could not even present the amount of evidence that we have that we are Israel and present the same amount of evidence for the Ish people. You couldn't do it. You just couldn't do it. And it's not just coming from Israelite scholars. It's coming from your own scholars. It's coming from European scholars. It's coming from people, who lived hundreds of years ago. So if anyone says that the Negro, the black person, the descendants of slaves, ADOS, is not the true Israelites of the Bible, you a liar, and the truth ain't in you. You can't prove we're not, but we can prove we are. So, and I agree, Brother Eric. Case closed. It is. Case is closed. Slam the door, put the lock on it. Case closed. It is. It's literally a case closed. We don't have to present another piece of evidence. But guess what? We like to learn our history. We like to see how much you all and your ancestors have lied. Yeah, we like to learn our history. So what we learn today and what we learn tomorrow and what we've learned in the past is not for you, it's for us. We're not here to convince anybody. We're not here to convince anybody because guess what? If you're not convinced now, you're never going to be convinced. I don't care if you're black. I don't care if you're white. I don't care if you're Chinese. I don't care what you are. If you ain't convinced, you ain't going to be convinced. If we had video from 2,000 years ago showing you black folks, you'll say it was a lie. No, it would be because they ain't have the tech as far as we know. But my point being is no matter what amount of evidence we present, it ain't enough. It ain't enough. Which is why there's, we don't need to discuss this with them. At this point, it's history for us, right? At this point, is finding out, okay, what happened during the Inquisition? What happened with our people? Why were they running all over the world? What happened here in the Americas? It's for us. It ain't for nobody else. We don't care what you think. We don't care if you don't believe it no more. We don't care. We thought you cared about truth. We thought you were like us. See, we were sort of feeling that you cared about truth. Thank you for the gift, Hebrew. So we thought you cared about truth. So, we was like, let's share it with them, right? But when you find out your own people be acting like an animal with a mask, then you say, it's time to move on. When you find your own people putting a roadblock in front of you from waking up the rest of your family, time to move on. When you find your own people being the worst of the worst and trying to hinder the awakening, it's time to move on. Dust off them feet, continue. So what we're sharing today is for us. I don't need no likes. I don't need no dislikes. I don't need no videos. I don't care what you do. Do what you do. Do what you do. This is for us. This is for family. This is family business. So let's talk about this. And it's not going to be a long show, hopefully. I know I say that all the time, family, and I end up being long. I try not to be it. So this is called the Portuguese in West Africa, the Jolof Kingdom, land of black Jews. So it's Cambridge Press, the Portuguese in West Africa, 1415 to 1670, a documentary history, page 76 to 77. Marlon Newitt is the editor of the Portuguese in West Africa, 1415 to 1670, a documentary history which is a collection of documents that illustrate aspects of the encounters between the Portuguese and the people of North and West Africa in the period from 1400 to 1650. This period witnessed the diaspora of the Sephardic Jews the immigration of Portuguese to West Africa and the islands. In this collection of works about the Portuguese in West Africa, we find that there were a group of people living in the kingdom of Jolof known to be Jews. We find on page 76 and page 77 of the book that within this land of Senegal and Gambia, the people of Jolof and Mandinga possessed a people known to be Jews. They were of a black color. The following quote confirms this statement. In this country, the Jolof kingdom, and in Mandinga, there are Jews who are called Gaul, and they are black like the people of the country. However, they do not have synagogues and do not practice the ceremonies of the Jews. Now, this is not the Roman Gauls that we were taught in history. And we're going to continue on and we're going to see that. But there's too much evidence to even entertain the idea that we're not Israel. I'm sorry, there's just too much. Go ahead, get them dislikes, get those dislikes going down. Go ahead. I know you sitting there. I know you don't want to hear the truth. That's fine because it's a truth channel. I told you that. These Gauls are usually jesters and singers and play on viols and cavicles. And because they do not dare to enter the villages, they take up a position behind the houses of the lords of the village. We sort of talked about this before in a different book. And at daybreak, they sing his praises until he orders them to be given a ration of millet, and then they go away. So, these people are Jews, right? So we know historically, that's all we keep seeing in the old text, that the Jews were black Africans. I mean, come on, let's just stop the foolishness. We know there's enough evidence. I mean, we don't have to present no more, but this is for family. So the kingdom of Jolof is the same as the Jolof kingdom of Senegal, where the popular rice dish Jollof may have originated. Once again, we've another document confirming the existence of black Jews in West Africa. This document that describes the Jews of West Africa as black also goes on to refer to them as Gaul, not Roman Gaul. According to the book Banjo, Roots, and Branches by Robert B. Winans, the word Gaul in this instance is derived from the Wolof word Gaul, G-E-W-E-L, which is the generic term for griot. Just as the biblical elders kept much of the Bible preserved in song via oral tradition, as we see in reference to the book of Psalms, the griot are known to be West African storytellers who preserve the oral traditions of West African societies. The book continues on by describing the griot, black Jews, as jesters, singers, and storytellers. These Gaul are usually jesters and singers and play on viols and cavicles. And because they do not dare to enter the village, we read that, they take up a position behind the houses of the Lord. I'm going to skip down. And when the Lord leaves his house, these Jews go in front of him singing and calling out their jests. Thank you for the gift, Lejean. Thank you for the gift, Stacy. No Gaul, whether a Jew or a Jewess, may take water from a spring until everyone else has finished drawing water, and then the last person will give them water. Or if they live in a country where there is a lot of water, they have some spring of their own set apart. So over and over and over again, we see the story of these black Africans who they call Jews. They say they are of the tribes of Israel. They tell us that we the Judah isn't, it doesn't mean Judah, but yet we see in the old text of the European that it does mean Judah, it does mean Jews, it does mean that they are Israelites. In every book that we see from those Europeans from 1800s and earlier, the Jews are described as black Africans. Thanks for the gift, brother. Sister Michelle. Uh, Sister or brother Michelle. I know that name could go both ways. So we see over and over that they're described as black Africans. Now, this is the Journal of African History. Fernandez reports the Wolof word for bard or jewel, we saw, which means Gaul, which he spells Gaul, and states that these bards may not marry outside their group. He furthermore adds that the bodies of deceased bards are placed in boab trees rather than buried, since the Wolof believed that this would cause drought, a belief still current in mid-20th century Senegal. Thanks for the gift, A.M. Stone. Fernandez refers to both the Wolof and Manding bards as Jews, since he, like most of the 16th and 17th century writers, believed that the social segregation to which the bards were subject could only be due to Jewish ancestry. I have a question. Isn't it true? Isn't it, family? Doesn't what's his name? Wodemaya, don't they speak Wolof? Don't Wodemaya and his family speak Wolof? Y'all probably know better than me. I'm saying, so according to this, then Wodemaya is a Jew. Wodemaya is a Jew. I know he don't know it. I know they ain't tell him. I know they didn't tell him. Look, Israel is all over Africa. You had 12 tribes who had descendants, who had a bunch of children by different by different mamas, right? Spread out all over the continent, right? Now, Eurocentric Christians and Eurocentric scholars are going to tell you Israel disappeared. That, there's these 10 lost tribes who had all of these kids. And remember, the Bible said Israel was going to be as numerous as the sands of the sea, but they disappeared. But now we see everybody on the continent, not everybody, but most of them that we see. Yeah, Miss Trudy's a Jew too. I know she don't know it either. So is who else is a Jew? You know who else on there? You know who she is. Y'all know who else a Jew? She Kikuyu. Come on. Y'all know who it is. Come on, put it up there, But anyway, there's a bunch of Jews on the continent. So over and over and over again, this is what we see. Now, I want to talk about another group. Yep, Dr. Mumby. She a Jew too. I know she off into some funny stuff now, but she'll be back. She'll be back. I know she off into that new age stuff, but she'll be back. But anyway, there's another group. Thank you, Brother Ian, for the gift. There's another group that we talked about sort of in other shows in passing. And they're Israelites. Now, I'm going to read some stuff to you. Now, I don't necessarily agree with the end result of what I'm going to read, because I'm going to show you why. But once again, we identify people who have traditions, ancestry, all of this stuff of what we call Jews in the Bible. Now, I'm not going to use this as my scholarly article. I just want to show you that some people believe the Messiah to be Jews. And this particular guy, he's a missionary, and he goes among the Messiah. Now, this is what he said. In April 2010, the Messiah of East Africa gathered in Nairobi, Kenya, to reveal to the world their ancient secret. Messiah are the descendants of Manasseh, the 13th tribe of Israel. These undefeated warriors, secluded for 2,600 years, are now the most important remnant in all society, the guardians of the covenant of Israel. Now, this particular guy, he's a missionary. He believes that they're Manasseh. Now, there's another guy from the early 1900s who also believe that they're Manasseh. Let me pull that up right quick. Let's see. Yeah. All right. So you see the name of this book. It is The Origin of the Maasai and Kindred African Tribes and of the Bornean Tribes. Its publisher is the East Africa Natural History Society. Right now, the question is, I'm going to come back to this article, family. Who are the East African Society? All right, this is their website, naturalkenya.org, right? Nature Kenya, the East African Natural Society, is Africa's oldest environmental society, established in 1909 to promote the study and conservation of nature in East Africa. We remain a non-political and non-profit membership society. So they are non-profit who's been in existence since 1909. Now, one of the original founders of this non-profit is a guy by the name of Frederick John Jackson. It's not a black guy, it's a white guy, as you can see. Right? Born in 1860, died in 1929. Was an English administrator, explorer, and ornithologist. Jackson was born at Oran Hall near Catterick, North Yorkshire in 1860. He attended Shrewsbury School and then Jesus College, Cambridge. In 1884, he went to Africa on a shooting trip, joining J.G. Haggart, the British consul at Lamu. On this trip, he explored the coast of what is now Kenya, the Tanya River, and Mount Kilimanjaro. As well as shooting big game, he collected birds and butterflies. Soon after the 1886 treaty was signed to delimit the German and British spheres of influence in East Africa, he joined the Imperial British East Africa Company. Thanks for the gift, William Smithers. So we know now who the founders of the authors of The Origin of Maasai. So we know who the founder was of the East African Natural Society. Now, let's read right here. All right, and you could. I'll put this in the description. Having thus reviewed what we believe to be the origin of the divinity of the Maasai, and before passing on to the Bornean peoples, we wish to give some evidence of the racial origin of the Maasai as we see it in their tribal names. Now, remember, they've been there since 1909 in East Africa under the British Empire. The very important part that taboo plays in the lives of these natives has already been referred to in the introductory chapter. With regard to the name Maasai itself, this seems to have come into use fairly recently, for not so long ago they called themselves Ma. This change was probably deliberate, as the fact is still remembered, and it is possible that the name Maasai, as an earlier variation, was retaken into use after having for some time and for some reason or other been under taboo. The writer cannot believe that a people who are not only so conscious of their own superiority, but so extremely loyal to ancient traditions and customs could allow their name to fluctuate unsystematically. We believe the Messiah to be no other than the Israelitish tribe Manasseh or Manasseh, as is a more correct rendering of the Hebrew. Now, here's what I'm going to say, and let me finish this before I go on. Hollis spelling phonetically writes Messiah, on the strength of which we have adopted the spelling Messiah as we consider this is still nearer the original than Messiah. So we have two scholars who believe the Messiah is the tribe of Manasseh. Is it possible they're correct? It's possible, but as you notice, he stated this change was probably, wait, where was it? Yeah, okay, right here. This change was probably deliberate, as the fact is still remember, and it is possible that the name Messiah as an earlier variation was retaken into use after having for some time and for some reason or other been under taboo. The writer cannot believe, okay, this is the point I'm looking at. The writer cannot believe that a people who are not only so conscious of their own superiority, but so extremely loyal to ancient traditions and customs could allow their tribal name to fluctuate unsystematically. So he's saying he can't believe that they allowed their names to change so much from Manasseh to Messiah. Now, in the past, I was leaning to the fact that Messiah may be Manasseh. Why? Because we had the story of Eldad the Danite. And he said they were over there in East Africa as well. But at the same time, he said Simeon and Manasseh went over there by the Black Sea, did the little story on it. And you had the Afro-Abkhazians. And those Afro-Abkhazians we showed were Israelites. Now, I'm not saying there aren't any Manasseh in East Africa. I'm not saying there aren't any Manasseh among the Messiah. But what are you saying, Yakoba? What I'm saying is this. Just as he was saying that he cannot see that they would change their name so much from, and I'm paraphrasing, from Manasseh to Messiah, I agree with him. I agree with him. So who are the Messiah? This is Yakoba's investigation. I'm not saying I'm right. They could be Manasseh, but I don't think they are. Why? Because they held their identity. They held their name. And if you look at the Messiah, they kept all of their traditions. Well, most of their traditions. So who do you think, Yakoba, who do you think the Messiah truly are? Do I think they're Israelites? Yes, I do. First Chronicles 9. We're reading verses 10 through 12. The following priests lived in Jerusalem: Jedi, Jehoram, and Jachin, Azariah, son of Hilkiah, the chief official in the temple, whose ancestors included Meshullam, Zadok, Meroth, and Etub; Adiah, son of Jeroam, whose ancestors included Pashur and Melchiah; Masai, son of Adiel, whose ancestors included Jazarah, Meshullam, Meslumith, and Immer. So who do I think the Messiah are? I think the Messiah, who they say they are. They're the Messiah. The Messiah, First Chronicles chapter 9. Son of Adiel. Messiah or Messiah. Messiah equal work of the Lord. A priest who returned from exile. A priest who returned from exile. An Israelite. I'm going to take them for who they say they are. They say they're the Messiah. I see one of the priests was a Maasai, their Levitical priesthood. Over and over and over and over and over, we continue to see not only history proving who we say we are, we see over and over and over and over and over the Bible proving who we say we are. Just like the nation of Mali, you got the son of Mali, right, in the Bible. You got many different tribes. You got the Ashan in the Bible. You got a Khan in the Bible. I'm like, when does it stop? When do we have to stop saying who we are? You ought to know by now. You have enough proof. You have enough proof. So we see, according to the scriptures, that Messiah was a priest, one of the priests that returned from exile. Could they be Manasseh as well? I don't know, maybe. Could Manasseh be amongst the other tribes that exist amongst the Messiah? Who knows? Probably. Over and over again, everybody in them old books keeps saying that them Africans are Israelites, but you're going to have them other jokers over there tell you there ain't enough proof. They're going to tell you them Deuteronomy 28 curses don't fit you. They're going to tell you all of this foolishness. And you know what we need to do? Just move on like we have done. Move on like we have done, because you know what? You know who starts to look foolish? They do. You know who starts to look foolish? They do, not us. We're like the little kid who say, look, I got all this evidence, y'all. Look, accept it. Look, I've been vigilant. Look, read it, accept it. You are Israel. And they be like, I don't care. It don't matter. There's no more Jew Greek. There's no more Jew Greek. That's what they tell us. But you know what? We're going to keep learning. We're going to keep looking at how the prophecies fit us. We're going to look at how the judgments are here on them. We're going to continue to look how all of these prophecies are coming to pass right now, while they sit there pointing their little fingers at Israel, calling us Judaizers and all kind of other foolishness. We're going to keep learning God's word while they sit there looking on the outside, watching God do a work. We're going to continue doing stuff while they sit on the side, seeing the prophecies come to pass on the continent of Africa. We're going to let them sit on the outside, watching God bless us while the rest of the world go down the hole. I'm not glorifying in the fact that the rest of the world under judgment. I'm glorifying in the delivery of Israel. I'm glorifying in our God, our King, our high priest, Yeshua. Word is true, and every last jot and tittle is coming to pass. I'm glorifying in the fact that it portends the end of our captivity. Peace and blessings, Israel. Your captivity is ending. Love you with the love of the Messiah. Make sure you share this video and all the other videos, especially the ones dealing with the Camara, so our people don't get caught up with these vax. Okay, family? Peace out.